Hi, this is Mrs. Almoney. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a really quick and easy microwave snack. Today we'll be making chocolate and vanilla mug cakes. The good news is you don't need very many tools and cleanup is really easy. You probably also have most of these ingredients at your house. First of all, you will need microwave safe mugs. Make sure that there isn't metal on your mugs. And you may want to check on the underside if it says if it's microwave safe. All your measurements will be done with measuring spoons, so that makes it pretty easy. You will also want a spoon for stirring, just a regular spoon. You'll want a knife for leveling off your ingredients, and you may want a rubber scraper for scooping out the mayonnaise. Yes, I said mayonnaise. More on that in a little bit. You're going to measure out each ingredient directly into the mug. Now, the first part with the dry ingredients, that's going to differ depending on if you're doing chocolate or vanilla, but then the rest of the ingredients will be the same. For chocolate mug cake, you're going to need 3 tablespoons of flour. If you're doing vanilla, it's a little bit different. You're going to need 3 tablespoons plus an additional 2 teaspoons of flour. Make sure you're leveling off your ingredients because if you don't, your measurements will not be accurate. And in baking, there's a lot of chemical reactions going on, and it does make a difference. Okay, now for the sugar. If you're doing chocolate mug cake, you're gonna need 2 tablespoons of white granulated sugar. Okay, it's just your regular sugar. And we need a little scoop here. Don't forget to level off. For vanilla, you're going to do 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So you want to make sure you pack that into your measuring spoon and level it off. Level it off as best you can. I know that can be kind of tricky sometimes. 1. 2. Okay. Now, if you're doing chocolate, you'll need the cocoa powder. 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder. Obviously, you do not put this in the vanilla mug cake. Always make sure you have the right measuring spoon, by the way. If you use the wrong one in this, it will make a difference. You know how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? Okay, there are 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. So if you mess up, you might have to do a little math. Okay, now both of them are going to need baking soda. The recipe calls for 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda. Now, if you don't have a 1/8 teaspoon, okay, it's kind of a really small one, use the 1/4 teaspoon, but fill it up about halfway. Because remember, 1/8 is smaller than 1/4. Okay, so 1/8 in there. And 1/8 in there. Okay, once you have your dry ingredients in there, you want to give them a good stir. Okay, don't add all the wet ingredients before you've stirred the dry ingredients. Okay, it might make the mix a little tougher if you do that. Just use a regular spoon to stir them up. Make sure they are stirred completely. Everything mixed up really well. Here's the vanilla one. And here's the chocolate. When you have it all mixed up, it'll pretty much look like hot cocoa mix if you're doing the chocolate. Next, we're going to add the wet ingredients. Now you may wonder why mayonnaise is in this. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a lot of chemistry involved in baking. So a lot of times when we're baking, we're going to use eggs and we're going to use some kind of fat. You might have milk in there, you know, a bunch of different ingredients that are common in baking. You don't see that in this mug cake, okay? So what mayonnaise mostly is egg, which basically means it's going to help bind the ingredients and keep it together. And there's going to be little air bubbles and everything there as it expands. So eggs are a really, really important part in baking. Now, the fact that mayonnaise has mostly egg in it, also has vinegar, okay, which also helps in that process, that allows this recipe to work. Okay, now, can you use egg? Sure. You will see a little bit different result. Okay, if you're going to use egg instead of mayonnaise, then you use one egg and you don't put the water in. So skip the water, okay? Just egg and vanilla for your wet ingredients. Okay, but we are going to use mayonnaise. This is also a take on wacky cake, which if you're not aware of wacky cake, it's a cake where you use some very different ingredients to make a cake. And that kind of came up during the Great Depression, you know, around the 1930s or so. Okay, so you get a tablespoon of mayonnaise. I would suggest use a rubber scraper to get it out as well, because you want to be as precise as possible. If you're not, it might end up a little dry. Okay, make sure it's in there real good. Okay, so it's a tablespoon of mayonnaise. Now remember, these steps, it doesn't matter if you have chocolate or vanilla, it's the same ingredients now, okay, the same measurements. All right, so I'm gonna get that mayo in there as precise as possible. All right, you're gonna need vanilla. Again, this is whether you're doing chocolate or vanilla, you do need vanilla extract. We use that in so many baked goods. But be careful, that doesn't come out too fast. If you're not good at this, you might wanna do it over another bowl. Okay, so 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to put that in each of these. And then finally, you're going to need 1 tablespoon of water. Just get a tablespoon of tap water from your sink. So a tablespoon of water there. Okay, again, be precise, because if you don't get the right ratio of wet and dry ingredients, it's not going to work right. Again, if you do a regular egg in here instead of mayonnaise, skip that tablespoon of water. Still do the vanilla, but skip the water. Okay, so you're going to want to stir up those ingredients really well, but not over mix it so that it ends up being really dry and clumped together. It should be about the consistency of cake batter if you're familiar with that. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But be sure to scrape around the bottom because you want to make sure that you don't miss some of the powder in there. Okay, so scrape around the side, scrape around the bottom. Okay, and it'll be looking like that. Okay. Now for the chocolate, get another spoon here. Again, it's going to look like brownie batter or cake batter. Is this safe to eat right now? Technically, no. You shouldn't eat raw flour necessarily, okay? It's not just egg you have to worry about. Now, the mayo obviously is safe. Okay, but it should be looking like that. Okay. And it's a good idea to get the batter down in your bottom of your mug as best you can. Scrape off the extra there. Okay. Here's where you can really have some fun. You can add toppings of your choice. I'm going to use some baking chips. You could add sprinkles. You could add chocolate chips. You could add Reese's Pieces, you know, all kinds of stuff. So just, you can put a few in. I wouldn't put more than a tablespoon of toppings in there. I'm gonna drop some in the top. So I'm just using milk chocolate chips here. I mean, don't go overboard on it. You can also add things like whipped cream on top after you've baked it, or you could add ice cream on top. That's what we normally do in class when we do this. Okay, so they're ready to go in the microwave. Now, depending on how many you're doing, that will factor into how long it cooks. If you're doing 1 mug, then you put it in for 1 minute. If you're doing 2 mugs, it's 2 minutes. 3 mugs, 2.5 minutes. Okay, it goes up by 30 seconds from there. I wouldn't do too many at once, only because they won't cook through as well. So I'm just gonna do 1 at a time since I only have the 2. You do wanna let it stand for a couple minutes, or else it's gonna be really hot when you try to eat it, so you don't wanna burn your mouth. All right, all done. Let's take a look. All right, we've got the vanilla and we've got the chocolate. It's good. So you can do egg, like I said, but if you do that, it tends to rise up a little bit more. It's gonna be a lot fluffier. I like it this way because it's actually, it tastes a little more chocolatey in my opinion. It's a little more dense and seems richer. So you can try it both ways. Another thing you can do if you want to make a vegan one, or one that doesn't have egg at all, if you're allergic to egg, for instance, you can use 3 tablespoons warm water mixed with a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Mix that up and that'll replace your egg as well. You can use that in things like cookies too. So hope you enjoy. Let me know how it goes if you make one. And there's so many other mug cake recipes out there. You can give them a try. Just do a simple Google search and have fun. Thanks for watching.